Yo, 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 what is up, guys? Welcome back to Trippy Commentaries. Thanks for checking out the episode. I'm RJ. This is actually my second take. It went horribly wrong the first one, and long story short, we have a $65 bounty now, so I gotta be careful. Head into Saint Denis. Hopefully, nobody recognizes us. That was a different Arthur, I swear. Quick shout out to all the new subs. I did want to let you all know we have a big live stream later on tonight. We're gonna try to defeat all 5 of the Call to Arms maps in one stream. So wish me luck. You guys can join us on PlayStation. Just make sure to sub if you are new, hit the notification bell, and switch it to all notifications on. It'll let you know as soon as we go live. Hopefully we'll see you there. So here is one of 5 hidden messages that you can find in Saint Denis. To this day, people still hit me up with a screenshot saying, Trippy, what does this mean? Well, this particular message says, I drink from the maiden and I live again in the dead, the heart of the ring of blood. When you find all 5 messages, they create a star and lead you to Nosferatu. You may think that the encounter with the vampire is where that mystery ends. It actually goes way deeper than that. We're going to cover it in today's video. Once again, thanks for checking out the episode. Sorry for the background noise. Trippy doggo knocking something over. Do me a favor and hit the like button. It really helps out the episode. So we're going to find 5 hidden messages, unlock Nosferatu, and you'll see that it is a link to the real-world version of Saint Denis, New Orleans, and its vast history with vampires. So once you find all 5 of the mysterious writings, you have one there, the second, the third, fourth, and fifth, it'll create a star on the map in Arthur's journal, letting you know where you can find the Nosferatu location. There's a couple very interesting things about Nosferatu in Red Dead Redemption 2. But before we get to that, let's look at the real Nosferatu and the mystery that is linked to New Orleans. Huge shout out to Stephen Unger, the expert on all things Dracula, Nosferatu, and vampires in New Orleans. He wrote the book In the Footsteps of Dracula, and this website has a couple excerpts from that book. I had recently researched this. I had no idea there's such an extensive history of vampires in New Orleans, and that is why Rockstar put Nosferatu in Saint Denis. If you've ever walked the dark, rainy streets of the French Quarter at night, you've seen the voodoo shop selling their Gris Gris and John the Conqueror root. You've seen the old woman in the French market whose pointing finger foretells your death. And if you know the right person to ask and you ask in the right way, you'll be shown to the vampire clubs. This is very real. I've been in those clubs and seen people who believe with their heart, body, and soul that they are a real live vampire. And some of those people in the clubs are scared to death of a select group of vampires who have only appeared there a few times, and always in the darkest of night. By day, of course, the vampire clubs are closed and locked or turned back into regular tourist bars. That is so creepy. So here's the excerpts from the book. Like the Spanish moss that drapes the trees in the nearby bayous, mystery and the occult have shrouded New Orleans since its birth. So they have a tradition. It is called sitting up with the dead. So basically, when a family member dies, a relative or close family friend stays with the body until it is placed into one of the above-ground tombs or is buried. The body is never left unattended, so they call it respect for the dead. There are many reasons given for this practice today. The old families will tell you it is simply respect for the dead, but this tradition actually dates back to the vampire folklore of medieval Eastern Europe. First, the mirrors are covered and the clocks are stopped. That's pretty weird. While sitting up with the deceased, the friend or family member is really watching for signs of paranormal activity. If a cat is seen to jump over, walk across, or stand on top of the coffin, if a dog barks or growls at the coffin, or if a horse shies away from it, these are all signs of impending vampirism. Sounds like something out of Skyrim. So you can see they have these traditions, and on top of that, there are vampire stories like the Casket Girls. Ask any member of the old family who the first vampires to come to New Orleans were, and they'll tell you the same. It was the Casket Girls. Much of the population that found their way to New Orleans in the early 1700s were unwelcome anywhere else. Deported galley slaves and felons, trappers, gold hunters, and petty criminals. People who wouldn't be noticed if they went missing. So basically they sent over young French virgin girls to be prospective wives for the colonists. They obliged, and after months at sea, the young girl showed up on the docks pale and gaunt, bearing only as many belongings as would fit inside a wooden chest or casket, which appears to have been the 18th century equivalent of an overnight bag. That reminds me a lot of Princess IKZ. You can find her chest or casket in Van Horn. More on that later on in today's episode. They were taken to the Ursuline Convent, which still stands today, where the girls were said to have resided until the nuns could arrange for marriages. Some accounts say they were fine young women, virgins brought up in church-run orphanages. Some say they were prostitutes. Maybe a combination of both. But there are many who swear they were vampires. Vampires who continue to rise from their caskets on the 3rd floor to break through the windows and hurricane shutters. Windows and shutters that always seem to need repairing after the calmest of nights, to feed upon the transient crowds that for centuries have filled the darkened alleys of the French Quarter, sounding a lot like Nosferatu in Red Dead Redemption 2. Finally, in 1978, after centuries of rumors and stories, 2 amateur reporters demanded to see these coffins. The Archbishop, of course, denied them entrance. Undaunted, the next night, the 2 men climbed over the wall with their recording equipment and set up the workstation below. The next morning, the reporter's equipment was found strewn about the lawn, and on the front porch steps of the coven were found the almost decapitated bodies of these 2 men. 80% of their blood was gone. To this day, no one has ever solved the murders. So again, that is very real, and the stories about vampires just keep going and going. The stench of death, Anne Rice in the Vampire Chronicles, it's all here and all represented within Saint Denis, including the hidden Nosferatu encounter. Nosferatu was a revolutionary silent film that came out in 1922. You can find some other silent films in Red Dead Redemption 2, and looking at Nosferatu himself, he definitely looks a lot like the vampire that Rockstar put hidden in Saint Denis. So with the Nosferatu silent film first getting released in 1922, that was not too long after Arthur Morgan walked the streets of Saint Denis. What do you think? Do you see a resemblance? Here it is, meeting Nosferatu in Red Dead Redemption 2. And just like the stories that we heard from New Orleans, you can find the vampire in the back alleyway, sucking the blood from a hobo or somebody who's down on their luck that he found in the alley. Now in this case, John does not believe that it's a real vampire, but considering it looks identical to Nosferatu from the 1922 silent film, I believe it's definitely one and the same. This is the real Nosferatu that Rockstar has put in Saint Denis. Now when you shoot him, he drops an ornate dagger, so perhaps we have to take Nosferatu somewhere, but either way, the history of vampires in New Orleans that many people believe continues to this day is also represented in Red Dead Redemption 2 with Nosferatu himself. We talked about the young female vampires coming over from Europe with a chest that looks just like the missing Princess IKZ's chest, which you can find in Van Horn. We still don't know what happened to her. Could Nosferatu somehow be involved? You may think, Trippy, what does Princess IKZ have to do with the vampire? But right here in Van Horn, if you go to the ticket booth, you will find someone who looks a lot like a vampire. Pale white skin, he doesn't say much. Perhaps there's something more to him. There's one other location which you can't get to until the very end of the game that I believe is linked to Nosferatu. It's pouring out here, not too far away from McFarlane's Ranch, just to the north. You can find a random stagecoach. It looks very odd, unlike anything else you can find in the game. There's also a man hanging from it, and right below him is an open casket. Interesting, you get bad honor for that. He looks a little bit strange. Did Nosferatu suck his blood and then escape, making it all the way to Saint Denis? Let me know what you think. It is definitely a mysterious location. We got another video in the works. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Hit the like button. It really helps out. Also, don't forget to sub to the channel if you are new. We're going to have a big live stream later on tonight. Adios, muchachos. Until next time, stay tuned. And as always, make sure to stay trippy, my friends. Y'all come back now, you hear?